All right, in recent news that we have today, following the resurgence of ICE agents and raids in Los Angeles area, we have the tragic information that an immigrant father was unalived.
An ICE officer shot and killed a man during a traffic stop in one of that city's suburbs. The Department of Homeland Security said officers were trying to arrest a man who had a history of reckless driving. They say the suspect drove his car into officers and dragged one of them. The shooting comes days into the Trump administration's immigration enforcement campaign in Chicago. Camille Montoya Galvez has more.
Surveillance video shows two ICE agents conducting a vehicle stop. The agents surround the silver car. The driver reverses the vehicle. The officer on the passenger side can be seen pointing his weapon as the driver attempts to flee the scene. As the car drives away, the agent on the driver's side can no longer be seen in this video. In a different surveillance video, two gunshots can be heard as the vehicle drives away. In a statement, DHS said the driver, Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, struck one of the officers and dragged them as he drove away. That officer then fired his weapon, hitting Villegas Gonzalez. Social media video shows Villegas Gonzalez laying on the ground bleeding as agents appear to provide immediate care.
We don't want our communities to be in this fear continuously.
The shooting sparked outrage among immigrants.
I think the best thing for the communities to do is to go back to the countries that they're illegal from and just come back when there's a democratic office. Now, do you have the same loyalty that you have in this office to be elected within the presidency? That's on you. If you don't want these communities which you have invaded to not go through these things, then please go back to your countries and come back when it's a better time. You could poke your heads out and come right back over with a democratic order if they're invited back in. But with things are going on in this country, I don't know about that.
Immigration advocates and local leaders.
It is wrong, it is unconstitutional, and it is straight up racism.
A DHS spokesperson said the ICE agent followed his training, used appropriate force, and properly enforced the law to protect the public and law enforcement. The officer sustained multiple injuries and is now in stable condition. Villegas Gonzalez was pronounced dead at the hospital. According to ICE, he entered the U.S. illegally and had a history of traffic violations. ICE presence in the community created tension between protesters and agents outside of a migrant processing center near Chicago. We were with ICE agents as they attempted to carry out arrests. They were led by Marcus Charles, the head of the agency's deportation branch. How long can we expect the operation to last here in Chicago?
I'm not going to go into time. We're going to do what we need to do to get as many of these criminal illegal aliens off the streets and to protect the public.
Tensions are running high here over President Trump's escalating crackdown on illegal immigration. Internal data shows ICE surpassed 200,000 arrests this week since President Trump took office for a second time.
200,000 in a week is crazy. Whoa.
Risks of going public about what they had experienced. Once people know who you are and that you're standing for justice, they might bother you more than before. William took a deep breath, and in our group's meeting, he said, I know, but I'm not only doing this to just get justice for myself and my compas. I'm doing this because I don't want anybody else to ever have to live through what I have lived.
This all comes as President Trump is moving to deploy National Guard troops to Memphis with threats that Chicago will be next. For more, we're joined by two guests in Washington, D.C. Representative Delia Ramirez, Democratic Congressmember from Illinois, is with us. She's the first Latina Congressmember to represent Illinois. And in Chicago, we're joined by Kevin Herrera, Legal Director of Raise the Floor Alliance, an attorney for William Jimenez Gonzalez. Congressmember, let's begin with you and the killing of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez. He was stopped in a traffic stop after bringing his kids to school. Explain what you understand happened next.
Well, first of all, what happened to Silverio is absolutely devastating. What we understand is that the ICE report that they released and the footage we have seen does not match. ICE is saying that The agent had been dragged for a long distance. The footage shows that it was less than 100 feet.
He wasn't dragged for a long distance. It was less than 100 feet.
The footage also shows that there was an unmarked SUV that barricaded Silverio. I mean, the point is, ICE stopped a man right after he dropped off his child at school because he's brown, because maybe he looked like he worked a minimum wage job, and then shot him to death.
And Congresswoman,
Probably was him driving off also with them hanging out the car.
The boss of Silverio in the Hero shop where he worked claimed that he worked 11 hours a day, that he was a model worker.
Yes, these people are great workers and all this and all that. And, you know, some Americans are just lazy and don't want to work. You know, I understand that. Right. We have to understand what we've been telling you. We're not working for these such low wages because these people in these higher up places, they do not care about us, nor our well-being, our lives. We should look at a lot of unreported numbers of illegal immigrants working for places and having fatal accidents. Not only fatal, but also maiming accidents, losing the hands of things like that. I don't see a lot of Black people with such fatalities nor dismemberments that are of African American lineage, not speaking of people of African descent or of the Caribbean. Now, when we're saying all these things and you know you don't believe us, you also come from these terrible governments which persecute you. So why wouldn't they personally persecute us if you're expendable, as you're being showed by the government, easily to get rid of? See, with us, it's more so killing. With you, it's shooing you away. So that is the difference between the Black and the so-called brown crisis that's going on. Let's just say tan, beige, things like that. Because actually, I myself am brown. All right. I guess most of my hair would be black, you know. But anyways, it's another story. A lot of people haven't gone to school, let alone had art class before.
And your response to this continued criminalization of what is essentially many hardworking immigrants here in the country.
I mean, Juan, not only that, what people haven't talked about that, not only was he a father to a 7 and a 3-year-old, he had full custody of these children. These children were left orphans because of ICE and the action they took that morning. It is bone chilling. People are asking in Chicago and certainly all over the country, if I get stopped because I'm brown, if I get stopped dropping off my child, will my child see me get shot by ICE because there's no justice, no accountability?
Now it's just all the Black people as criminals, but now it's they're racist. This is crazy, Holmes.
In this precise moment in what they're doing. And that is a test. And I think
also in Illinois, the Latino population are extremely anti-Black Latinos, which is what their cultures are. It's just another slave culture that came over to the New World and destroyed a lot of things. A lot of these people, if you take DNA tests, they are basically half white, and they adhere to their white side more than their native side. A lot of these native peoples in these countries are actually persecuted against and move off of their land by the dominant culture, which is the children of the conquistadors, at least that mindset. They even think they're Castillos and things like that, which they're not. They're not of the Visigoth Germanic aristocracy of Spain, but they think they are. Yeah.
Truly devastating of our justice system that there are agents who can do whatever they want and they don't have to abide by any enforcement and accountability.
I think that same thing is happening in a little place called the Middle East. Yes.
And what's been the response of the Chicago community, from the grassroots organizations to City Hall to the governor in terms?
Grassroots organizations would be Black people. So I don't know what's going on with that, because race relations in Chicago are terrible. They've never been united, actually.
In terms of these attacks and the threats of President Trump to bring in the National Guard into Chicago as well?
Well, first one, we need a thorough investigation of what happened. The footage, the witnesses we have talked to do not match what the ICE reports show. I think in order for people to feel like justice has been served, we need to know what exactly happened, the protocols, what training or
I wonder what happened to people if they start waving American flags in Mexico. Just saying, it could be nothing. I'm just saying. I wonder what would happen if the American flag was being raised there.
That shit feels so good when you drink
It
it.
sounds dangerous.
Yeah, you can drink and eat organisms. It kills all the shit in your body, all the dirt and the mold that you got in your shit, dog. You know what I'm saying? We all got bacteria. You know what I'm saying? But I don't even know the name. Kabunchy. That's the name of it. What? Kombucha. Organism. Enzymes. Prohibitats and whatever the detox. You need it, dog. So, plug on yourself with this shit. Organism, all right?